Hello everyone, this is Dr. Kalpana Chauhan. Today I am going to tell you about static relays based on their applications. First relay that we are going to discuss in the category based on their applications is static time current relay. It is a type of instantaneous overcurrent relay. The input from line current transformers is going to the summation current transformer. The output of summation current transformer is going into the another input current transformer which is having some filters also. This is called as the auxiliary current transformer, which is having tappings on its primary side for the selection of required pickup and current range. The output of input current transformer is going to the rectifier unit. This rectifier unit rectified and smoothed the current. After that, this output is going to the overload level detector and time circuit. This time circuit is nothing but the RC circuit. When the voltage across the timing capacitor reaches to a critical value, then it triggers the level detector. The output of the level detector is amplified with the help of amplifier and according to the requirement and gives to the tripping circuit. The tripping circuit operates the output device. Here the timing circuit is connected here. The charging of the capacitor in a timing circuit is achieved by a voltage derived current transformer. This current is obtained across a non-linear resistor. As we called earlier, that is the RC circuit. So this current is obtained across a non-linear resistor by passing a rectified current through it. The proper selection of non-linear resistor and RC timing circuit allows to obtain desired shape of time current characteristics of the static relay. The current at which level detector trips, we called it as the threshold current. The level detector trip only when the input current will goes higher than the threshold current. If we talk about the static time characteristic, it's showing the inverse type characteristics and it is given by the expression here. We have represented this expression. Here we have T is equal to KTMS time multiplier setting divided by IN minus IPN. Here T is the time of the operation of the relay in seconds and K is the design constant of the relay. TMS is the time multiplier setting that we choose according to the requirement. I is the tap current. IP is the multiple of tap current at which pickup occurs. N is the characteristic index of the relay here. The characteristic of static time relay is given by the standards of the British standards. These standards can be categorized for the inverse time relay, very inverse relay or extremely time inverse relay. For inverse time relay, the value of K into TMS is 0.14, this is standard value, and N is 0.02. IP is 1 in each case. Means for inverse time relay, very inverse relay and extremely inverse relay. For the three, the value of IP remains 1 ampere. While K into TMS in case of very inverse relay goes to the 13.5 and N is 1. In case of extremely inverse relay, the value of K into TMS is 80 and N is selected as 2. Here with the help of these characteristics, we can draw the characteristic on this plot. Here on the x-axis we have current I and on y-axis we have time. If we see the characteristics between time and current, then we noted that the curve is asymptotic about both axes. Due to this characteristics, there exists minimum current. Here we have minimum current below which relay cannot operate it. There exists minimum definite time of operation here which cannot be reduced. Here is a circuit for the static instantaneous overcurrent relay. In this case, the auxiliary transformer gives the output voltage proportional to the fault current. The main circuit is protected from the voltage surges by using this R1C1 circuit. It is called as the surge protector. The output voltage from the transformer is then rectified and is smoothened using capacitor filter C2. The level of this voltage is compared with the voltage level decided by the Zener diode here, ZD1. This Zener limits the rectified voltage to a safe value, so the fault current is very high. Part of this voltage, as decided by the potentiometer P here, is compared with the breakdown voltage of another Zener diode ZD2. When rectified voltage is greater than voltage of ZD2, the transistor Q1 conducts. This increases drop across R2, due to which another transistor Q2 conducts. This energizes trip coil of the relay. When trip coil opens, it develops high reverse voltage, which is called as the back EMF. To protect the circuit from the back EMF, we have connected here the diode. Here we can see here this diode is connected across the trip coil to protect it from the back EMF. With the help of potentiometer P, different pickup values can be obtained. That's why we have connected here the potentiometer. Here we have inverse time current relay. In this relay, under normal conditions, here we have transistor Q1 which gets biasing from DC supply, which is applied through R4 and P2 and get conducts. Hence capacitor C is short circuited. When fault current exceeds the pickup value set up by the potentiometer and selector switch, then transistor Q1 becomes off. The capacitor charges through R3 and P1 by the voltage developed across the resistance R1. This charging time varies as per the severity of the fault. More severe is the fault, more is the voltage developed across the R1, less is the time for charging capacitor C to a critical level. When voltage across the capacitor reaches to a predetermined level set by the potentiometer P3, then transistor Q3 get conduct. This energizes the trip coil and the circuit breaker opens. The thing that is noticeable here that the diode T protects the transistor from the high reverse voltage, that is back EMF. Thus more fault current, less is the time required to operate relay. Hence it is called as the inverse time relay. Next type of relay is directional static relay. This is overcurrent relay definitely, but having directional in it. The directional relay is a directional power relay which operates when the power in the circuit flows in a particular direction. Because we are talking about the power, so there is voltage as well as current in the system that we are required for actuating the circuit. Here we can see in this block diagram that we have two inputs. Input 1, which is a current input, and it is proportional to the system current supplied through a directional unit through an auxiliary transformer. On the other hand, the second input, V input, is the V voltage, as we are saying that we are using V and I both. This voltage is proportional to the system voltage supplied through a directional unit through a phase shifter. The phase comparator, which is the next unit in this block diagram, compares the phase angle phi between the two inputs V and I. Let the relay characteristic angle is theta here, and IP is the current setting magnitude. The relay operates when IP is less than or equal to the I cos phi minus theta. The static directional overcurrent relays are very sensitive, and directional unit can be made reliable down to 1% of the system voltage. Next type of static relay is static differential relay. A differential relay which operates when the phasor difference of two or more similar electrical quantities exceed a predetermined value. In the previous case, in the direction relay, we have two quantities also, but these two quantities are different in nature. There are voltage and current. But in case of differential relay, we have two quantities, but these quantities are same in this case. Means if there is current, then both quantities should be current. If there is voltage, then both quantities should be voltages. And the quantity of this voltage or current should exceed a predetermined value. Here we can see in this block diagram two inputs A and B having these may be similar quantities. These may be voltages or current. These two quantities get compared, and if their comparison difference is exceeds a predetermined level, then it gets actuated. Here the working of the comparator is to compare these quantities. The comparator here measures the vector difference between the two similar input quantities, and here we have a circuit of the static differential relay. In normal conditions, those two quantities balance each other and the comparator output is 0. The relay is in operating condition in this case. For any internal fault, the comparator senses the phase difference between the two quantities and produces the output. This output is get amplified with the help of amplifier. Here we have bridge rectifier here and gives to the trip circuit which operates a relay. If we are assuming that N0 and Nr be the number of turns of operative and restraining coils respectively, so we can say the relay will get operated only when K1 N0 I0 will become greater than K2 Nr Ir plus K dash. Here we are assuming that K1 and K2 are design constants and K dash is the spring constant. We can use the differential relay for the applications for the protection of the generators and transformers against any type of internal faults only. Static differential relay showing the advantages over electromagnetic relays in terms of high sensitivity, compact in size due to the use of electronic devices, very fast in operation, low power consumption, less burden on input current transformers, and inrush current proof characteristics. So this is all about static differential relay. Next type of relay is static distance relay. In the distance relay, the operation is dependent on the ratio of voltage and current. We are talking about the ratio of voltage and current, that means we are talking about the impedance. This relay get operated when this impedance means ratio of V and I is less than a predetermined value. Distance relay can be categorized based on their characteristics. These may be impedance relay, reactance relay or admittance relay. Admittance relay, sometimes we call it as the Moore relay. Here is a block diagram for the static distance relay. We have the line voltages VL and IL which are given to an input to the two measuring circuit. Here the circuit produces the outputs S1 and S2 according to their characteristics, whether they are impedance relay, reactance relay or admittance relay. This may be S1. If we are talking about S1, the output S1, it is equal to the K1 VL plus K2 IL, while S2 we can represent K3 VL plus K4 IL. The output from the comparator get amplified and then go to the trip circuit. Here, because we are saying that the input which are going into the comparator is dependent on the characteristic of the distance relay. So for the direction relay, for the impedance relay, reactance relay and Moore relay, operating and restraining quantities are different. Here we have given a table which having different static distance relay and amplitude comparator and phase comparator, and their quantities we have given operating quantity, restraining quantity. Based on this table we can draw their characteristics, as here for the direction relay the operating zone is on the upper side. We can show This is the operating zone. Next, for the impedance relay, we have a circle, which is the operating zone, and this radius is ZR. While in case of reactance relay, the operating zone is under the parallel line, which is parallel to the distance axis XR, and the distance of this line from this axis is XR, reactance. Next, the characteristics for the mho, and we can see the operating zone circle is passing through the origin here. Again, in this case, radius is ZR, and the angle which is drawing from the axis is theta. So these are the all about the characteristic of the static distance relay, and this application of these type of relays is for the protection of medium and long transmission lines, for the parallel feeders and interconnected or T connected lines. So this is all about static relays based on their applications. Thank you.